All right, coming on now, podcast Broken Boney, my longtime pal, the man, the myth, the legend, my old neighbor, one of my best friends, and one fucking hell of a guitarist, Matt Ferlaino. Welcome to the show.
I gotta say, I am flattered beyond belief to be on the show. Podcasts are part of my everyday routine, and now I get to be on one with the guy I grew up next to. So what's better than that?
Nothing. I'm pumped. This was definitely one of the more anticipated ones. I knew we got a couple banger stories. First,
Yes.
give me a little about yourself. Name the whole shebang.
Okay, my name is Matt Ferlaino. I just turned 13 yesterday. Go to height. No, I'm kidding. I'm 22. My name's Matt Ferlaino. Me and AJ, we grew up next to each other, neighbors. So we've known each other for a long time. Something interesting about me right now, I'm still in school. I go to university. I'm in computer science. I'm going to be graduating this year. Hopefully, we're going to hope that we graduate this year, right? With
Yeah,
COVID.
facts.
And I do software development. Well, seriously, man, now everything's all up in the air with COVID, right? But I'd imagine we're going to be graduating. I'll probably be doing one of those virtual graduations which absolutely sucks, but whatever. And so we got that going on, and I play in a band too. Like to make music, like to hang with my friends. That's really it. Got a girlfriend, and that's
Simple
me in a
life, eh?
nutshell.
Just a simple guy.
Simple life, simple man. What can you do? You have to try and keep things simple in this world. The way things are going, simple is the best way sometimes.
Yeah, you just sit in your basement, rock out. I remember you posted the one story of you just shredding in your basement, and I was like, "Yo, either your place, your basement's not soundproof, is it?"
So my basement's not soundproof. That night I was super excited. I don't know what happened. I think I was just playing by myself, and I was in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get in these zones, and I was in
Yeah.
one of those zones. So it was like I think like 11 o'clock, 11:30, something stupid like that. So crank up the stereo. I'm like, screw this. Threw down Instagram Live, and I just went for it. And I was
You were giving her.
Oh, I was having a blast. I was sweating. I was running around dancing. I was having tons of fun. But then I think it was when I was playing Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles, probably about 3 minutes in, right after the solo, I go and look at the screen and it's black, and I'm like, what the fuck? And there's a bunch of text on the screen. We could swear on here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm like, what the hell? So I look at the screen, and it says that I got kicked off because I think they have like a Shazam that goes on and listens to the music you're playing, and the Eagles are super, super copyright central, right? You can't play any of their music, so they canned me. So I was still sitting there for probably about 3 minutes, just rocking out, like banging my head, going crazy. And then I look at the screen, I was offline for like
you were
3 minutes.
You were blacking out, just giving her.
Totally by myself. Yeah.
What do your parents say then if you're just shredding at 11:30?
You know what, man? Honestly, I think about this a lot because so now that I can actually play the instrument, it sounds a lot better. So if it's loud, at least it sounds better. But when I first started playing, I sucked and I was horrible and I was not good at all. And when I went away to school, when I went to Laurier for a year, I had been playing for maybe about a half a year at that point. So I still sucked. And I brought my amp with me. I brought my guitar. I lived in res. So I would turn this thing up all the time. So my whole entire guitar playing life thus far, I annoy the fuck out of everyone around me, but for some reason, people keep me around. They don't hate me. I don't know what they think, to be honest with you. I tell you one thing, if I was upstairs trying to watch TV and someone's downstairs trying to play, Stairway to Heaven solo, and it sounds like shit, I'd be like, dude, I'd be like, stop playing.
Go outside, find a different spot.
But everyone put up with me for some reason, and I could have just plugged headphones in, but that's not the same. You know what I mean?
No, you got to let it fly.
You got to let it fly. It's like he can't just plug headphones in.
You've always been the big music guy. I think you were the guy, if anyone was born in the wrong generation, like you were always into the old school shit, eh?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of my music taste that I have, the oldies that I like, is because of my parents. Because when I was playing traveling sports, we were on the road every weekend. And I mean, my parents would crank all kinds of tunes, Styx, Bon Jovi, a lot of the classics. Those are some of their favorites, but they also have Journey, Eagles. So I grew up, I had like my computer had all this data in it, of all these oldies. But when I was playing hockey, I was listening to all rap. Because that's what you're kind of listening to. Eminem, you're getting fired up, so you listen to all that stuff. But a lot of the new stuff I didn't like, so I would listen to even the old school rap.
Yeah, you introduced me to a lot of the Wu-Tang.
All of that.
Wu-Tang was
the whole West Side Coast, West Side Connection, all of that. I loved all of that. Snoop Dogg and the Dog Pound, all of that. Okay, that was my scene. And I was in high school. I wanted to be a rapper. Not actually. I like the idea of rapping. I remember we started that.
We did that
rap group. I forgot about that. Atlantis with Paul Mario and Caruso.
I wonder if those files could ever be dug up. I remember we tried that for a week, and it was just
I deleted
one of the whitest country kids you could ever find.
I deleted all of that shit. I thank God I don't have that on my computer anymore. But that was when I realized, like, I liked the idea of making music, but it's pretty hard to just learn how to rap.
Oh,
and
you
I'm
got to be
brutal at
born
it
with
anyways.
that.
You got to kind of be born with it. You got to be. There's so much to. You got to have the look to it. The voice has to be certain deep. I don't fit that description. So then all of a sudden, guitar just kind of. That's a long story, but that just kind of came into my life, and now I've been playing instruments since then. And now I'm like perfect. I found something I could get good at. I could practice it. I could make music how I want, and I can enjoy it without having to totally suck being a rapper.
When you said Bon Jovi, I was like, let the record show. I don't think I've ever met any bigger Bon Jovi fans than your parents. I mean, that shit was on 24/7.
24/7, man. Yeah, like, so it's funny. My dad likes Bon Jovi too. But he's definitely become a bigger fan because of my mom, because of her, rubs off after a while.
So happens in marriage,
everything rubs off, unfortunately, the good and the bad, right?
Yeah.
But no, yeah, we have like a fucking Bon Jovi autograph football, all kinds of stuff from him. My mom's a diehard fan. I like his music. He makes anthems. He's a stud. He's a fucking great musician. But
the whole rock star lifestyle. I love watching those docs. The what is it, like the Queen doc? What was it called?
Like the movie the movie. Unbelievable.
That shit was, and the Dirt was like,
well,
that was.
Well, I was about to say that's the thing now is they're doing that, like the Dirt, Bohemian Rhapsody. There was another. Well, they did that with rappers too. That was a while ago. Like they had 8 Mile, Eminem. They had 50 Cent. I've always loved those movies where they do that on the artist.
The Dirt and Bohemian Rhapsody. Watching those, I was like, yo, those guys lived a fucking life.
Dude, that was a different time, man. There's a lot of crazy stuff. Like even if you look into like Led Zeppelin and you look into some of the stories about them and some of the party and stuff, like it was totally a different time. That'll never ever happen again.
They were doing cocaine like I was drinking water.
Yeah, those guys were. It was crazy, man. I mean, those guys would be, if you look at Kiss, Ace Frehley, the lead guitar player, he used to unscrew his 4x12 cabs and just load drugs in there. So when they would be touring across the world,
I love those docs. Fire me up.
There's something about him that's interesting because like we all know that that's not a life that we can live, but we find it so thrilling that other people did, and we want to watch and we want to learn about it. We want to be like, what'd you do? What was it like, right?
Yeah, it's like those videos. It's like me on my way to my 9 to 5 listening to like Snoop Dogg talking about how he killed 3 people. It's like I'll never live that, but I'm so intrigued by it.
Well, of course, man. And it's like it kind of makes the artist a bit more interesting too. There's nothing worse than when you love an artist and it's like, this is great, and then you kind of, there's an interview and they're dry, they don't have, they're lame, they don't really have anything interesting about them.
It's boring.
You're kind of like, oh well, fuck. It's much more interesting when you get someone who's very eccentric, very mystique, or someone
totally
very,
opposite of you, basically.
Yeah, totally, exactly, right. There's something about that's interesting. But those guys live, like, man, Nikki Sixx died and came back to life. Like, come on.
Guy lived
who are you gonna meet that's gonna be like, yeah, I partied so hard I died and I got revived, and then I wrote a song called Kickstart My Heart, and it became one of our biggest songs, and I made millions.
It's stories you'll never think you'll hear, and it's like I just want to be a fly on the wall for those parties and just see what the hell went on.
Well, and isn't it interesting that every time that song comes on now, Kickstart My Heart, I mean, at least 20 to 35 guys at a party ram their head through the wall at the same time the minute that song comes on. It's like the energy from that song is huge. And it's funny because if you look at the story of why it was written, it was like, dude literally died, got revived, and then wrote Kickstart My Heart. And now
but everyone's just raging to it.
And everyone loves it, right? Because you get that adrenaline in the song.
I was going to start it off by saying how we met, but to be honest, I don't know if I could ever tell. I don't even know. One of us came to someone's door, said, yo, you come outside.
This is the story. This is what happened. So I was at home and I had no friends when I was a kid. So my mom was like, hey, there's this little kid next door. He's got a sister. You should go talk to them.
Little twerp.
A friend, right? Yeah, exactly. So I came over next door, I knocked, and I saw AJ, and it was love at first sight. That's pretty much what happened.
Ah, man, that must have been so freaking early. Like,
I don't even know, honestly, dude. I don't even know. Like, I don't even think we really can know, because I grew up there ever since I was a kid. I was born in Mill Creek. I grew up there I think I moved when I was like 14, maybe. So I grew up there for 14 years, ever since I was a kid. And you were there just as long.
Probably just the bus stops. We just united at the bus stops.
I guess so. It's just like my earliest memory. I remember seeing you, and I remember seeing your sister and my sister too, because she's only 3 years older than me. You're closer to her age than I.
Yeah, there was all four of us
too. And all four of us, yeah.
The Sam, what was it?
I was just about to say that. Remember we made that fort called Sam?
You used to have in the back.
fucking genius. SAMM, Sean, AJ, Matt, Michaela.
Super
Fucking
original.
genius. And then that guy, my neighbor, started dumping all of his grass
Yeah,
there.
you
You remember
ruined
that?
it.
I
Yeah.
went back there one day. I had a fit. I almost had a heart attack. I went in that bush and I see a fucking heaping pile of green grass, freshly cut grass. So I knew this guy just cut the grass. So I went and I wrote a sign. I took a branch. Okay. I bent a branch off a tree forward. So it made like it was like an arm that you can't go out. And then I put a paper sign and said, no more dumping. So, so he, how stupid, man. Like in the bush, he knows it's me. Okay. So he goes to my mom and he's like, hey, I saw your son's sign in the bush. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I think he's got a little fort there or something. He's like, I dumped my grass there. He said he
Private
doesn't want me
property.
to. Yeah, it's private property. He
Claim the
doesn't want me to
property at
anymore.
7 years old.
So he asked my mom. That's only you only get neighbors like that in Mill Creek. He's like, do you mind if I still dump my grass there? And she's like, yeah, don't listen to anything he does. But yeah, that fort lasted for probably 2 weeks, and it wasn't even a fort; it was just a bush.
Man, yeah, we thought it was like some jungle. It was like probably like 20 yards deep. It was hilarious.
We had rampant imaginations, though.
Oh man, it was the childhood. We were spitting before the show. We were just trying to brainstorm some stuff, and like I haven't laughed that hard in a minute. I was like, we got to cut it off and save it for this because we were absolutely dying the stories we had.
Well, let's get into it.
Give me first one that comes to mind, your favorite
The first one that comes to mind is absolutely hands down when your dad ate shit off the jump. And not only does that come to mind because you were there, we had like the whole neighborhood was there.
Yeah.
We had like all of our friends there. So what we used to do is we had these jumps, and I had
ramps.
We had a plastic ramp. Yeah. Well, then Jarrett, his dad bought him that super nice one. Remember that one? That was
the
like
metal one.
It was like
move.
steel. Yeah, we needed to load it in a car to bring it places. So we lived in this neighborhood, and I had this really steep driveway. So we used to set up this ramp kind of on an angle, and the side of the driveway went off into AJ's front yard. So we would just bomb it. Like we would just ride our bike as hard as we could, and we would just hit jumps and fly and fly and fly. And we actually did so with great success. I'm pretty surprised. So I don't know why your dad came out that day and he wanted to hit the jump, but like he doesn't. He would just
he's a very just kind of guy.
Yeah, and they would just kind of see us doing our thing, and they'd just be like, whatever. But that day, he was having a great day, and he came outside, and he was. You were riding your bike, and he just kind of waved you over, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" I'm thinking like, "Oh, maybe AJ's got to go or something."
I got grounded for the 17th time.
His dad your dad wanted to ride the bike, and then he was gonna hit the jump, so we're all like, "Hell yeah!" So we're all like, "Nice, like, let's go." So he's going, and it was like, if you could imagine going as fast as you can, as hard as you can, and just hitting a curb straight on, and just flying over the handlebars.
He didn't pull up.
He didn't pull up at all. So we were all just we all wanted to laugh. First of all, we knew he was okay because he landed in the grass. So we're like, okay, he's gonna be fine. But I wanted to die laughing, but we couldn't because like I'm like, what do you do, right? So he just kind of got up.
40-year-old man, just yard sale on the front.
He's just swan diving in the air right into his own front lawn, and all the kids are just sitting there watching him do it.
And he's like, he gets up, he's like, I forgot to pull up.
Yeah, that was it. Just I forgot to pull up, and so that was probably one of the funniest stories. It was definitely a be there moment because if you could just picture John flying through the air,
just the content, man. He must have had like an extra Bud Light that day, and he was feeling.
I don't think he ever touched a bike after that.
No, and the thing is he rode bikes, so you think he would have known that when you hit a jump, you got to pull up, but I guess that was outside of his expertise.
He did not. I think you sold your bike shortly after. After that,
probably got so mad. It's like, this kind of biking stupid. Get rid of it.
Sold the bike. I'm done with BMX biking. That's hilarious.
Man, you always had that daredevil. I remember, like you got to be born with it. We used to go to Belarusian, like this bike spot. We'd hit all the jumps. I was always the biggest pussy when it came to that. I hated it. I could never commit to it. I remember the one time I got a skateboard, and we were sitting at the end of my driveway, and I was just going down the driveway, and like you guys were doing it. You and Blake Antonello were just doing it over and over and over again. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a shot. And our yard sale done. I didn't pull, like, I don't know how to skateboard.
I remember that. I actually remember that because you had a nice skateboard. I ended up getting your wheels off you, the red wheels. You had a nice board. Yeah. It was because of people like Blake, because I would be around people like him who were like way more daredevilish than me. They would try, they had way more balls, and I would be like, well, fuck, if they can do it, I can do it, right? And it's like bad attitude to have when it comes to shit like that, because it's like, no, if they can do it, you probably can't do it, and launching yourself up higher isn't going to help. right?
I learned that the hard way. I just thought I could do it like everyone else, and I ended up catching my wheels and just sending it onto the pavement.
Well, now I think about it, and I'm like, how the hell did I do any of that stuff? Like, there's no
Oh
way I
man,
could do any of that stuff now. If you even tried to get me to go and what's it called when you drop in on a quarter pipe
ramp. Yeah, I used to go to the
yeah.
skate park and do that. I was like, yo, never. I'll
Yeah,
never be.
yeah. I used to go to the skate park and I used to do that, and I got good at just doing that. That's all I would do. I was just dropping all day long because I couldn't do anything else. But I would not be able to do that now. If I tried to do that, I'd fall and break my head.
I'm like I tried. We got my roommate left her longboard here, and I went to go take it down by the water, and I got around the corner, so I literally left my house, went left, went down the road. Sent this thing 10 yards down the road.
They fly.
Oh man,
they fly.
And I realized I was like, yeah, it's not for me. I'm way too clumsy.
I actually love longboarding. I got back into it. I don't know. Do you remember that longboard I had?
Yeah.
I remember that. You remember?
You had everything. You had a BMX, a skateboard, a longboard.
I was right into that. I loved all of that stuff. I was right into that. Yeah, I still have the longboard, so I use that. I got back into it. Longboarding, I don't mind because you're not trying to do tricks. You could go, but they are definitely trickier to control because of how fast they are.
Man,
and if actually, I went down Second Line Hill on the longboard.
Did you just bomb it?
Well, okay, so
it's a pretty steep hill for anyone.
Yeah, you want to talk about daredevilish. So the guys I play in a band with, my lead singer Adrian and the drummer Willie, they both skateboard, and they're actually pretty good. So they have cruiser boards as well, and they're just like, let's go riding. I'm like, okay, so we go riding around, and then they're like, you guys want to go down Second Line Hill? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So no, I'm thinking like we're not actually going to do this, and we're climbing up the hill, and then it's like, okay, let's go. And they just lay their boards down and go. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, do I go? Do I not go? What do I do? What do I do?
Do I die?
So I'm looking around. I'm like, go. So I just go. And it was terrifying for the first 5 seconds because the board only gets faster and faster.
Yeah, there ain't no stopping on that thing.
There's no stopping. If you carve, you can get it to kind of slow down, but you can't carve Second Line Hill because you're going to get cranked, right? So you can't carve that hill. You have to just kind of go straight. So I'm looking at them and they're just like, they're just going down having a blast. And I was shitting my pants every second of the way. So I was like, I'm either going to bail here or I'm going to keep going. And you're not going to bail. Don't bail unless you absolutely have to. Okay.
Roll. That's what I would do. Right
exactly. So I just kept going. And then by the time I got down to the bottom of the hill, it was long enough that I kind of slowed down and it was fun. And then I wanted to do it again. But yeah, so there's a little bit of that still in me, but not as much. I'm definitely, I don't like getting injured. That's for sure. I hate injuries.
I learned it the hard way. And I thought I could recoup my love for it like 2 weeks ago. And I realized I'm piss poor at it. I'm not built for that. So I quit. We used to, honestly though, when we were growing up, I remember the BMX bike was like, that was the longest tenure we had. We thought we were like Sons of Anarchy biking around Mill Creek on our BMX bikes.
We used to call Belarusian Vel. Be like, yo, let's go to Vel. People be like, what the fuck what are you talking about? We're like, you've never heard of Vel? We're like trying to rip him. Like, you don't know what Vel is? They're like, what the hell are you talking about, man? We take him. It's like these shitty dirt jumps.
Yeah, those things. And then there was just like these older ass crack kids. I remember, I don't know if you were there the one time when I brought my wallet with $40, my whole life savings with it. And those the kid, we went to Walmart and I left my wallet there and the kid ripped me off and I biked home crying. I was like, Mom, this guy stole $40 from me. I don't know how she got in the car. She get in the fuck car. We're going. So we flew.
No way.
Yeah, we flew to McDonald's. We were driving around trying to find this kid. We find it. I was like, that's his bike outside of the McDonald's. We walk in, my mom.
His name was Spike?
It was something weird. It was like this ghetto
Spike. Hey, Mom, it's Spike. He stole my $40.
We walk into McDonald's and this kid's sitting there. He probably bought his meal. My mom walks in, starts reaming him out the whole nine. He's like basically crying after he stole.
Dude, I would be scared shitless if I saw your mom coming after me.
That's a terrifying lady.
Your mom's tall too. Both your parents are really tall.
Yeah, I got the height from my mom, thankfully.
Yeah, dude, you're I don't know what the fuck's going on. You got to slow down, dude. You're growing like, dude, you should see when I think my Nana saw you somewhere and she's like abnormally short, right? So like I tower over her and she was like freaking the fuck out. She was telling me, this was a while ago, but she was telling me that she saw you and she's like, that's not him. Like there's like 3 of them stacked on top of him now. Like that's not
based
him.
on when the last time she probably saw me, it was like that was that little corp with the fucking Bieber cut. Man, We had so many good stuff when we were spitting I know you want to take this one with either the Kumon one. You can give that one.
Okay, I gotta say the Kumon one because that's a staple AJ Metson. Okay, so
I took
AJ
Kumon from 2 days.
AJ, you used to take Kumon, right? So and you were pretty diligent in doing it. You didn't fuck around when you had to get it done.
That's all of my mom. I used to get grounded on the daily.
I remember you would get grounded all the time because you didn't do your Kumon. So so we would play, and me and AJ, we developed this system actually because we play video games. So we would call each other on the phone. We play Modern Warfare 2, and we would boost for like 4 hours. We would go to maps, like all those maps. We'd play Attack Insurgents and just boost, right? So we would do this a lot. So one time I was like, "Yo, you want to hang out and play?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, let's go play outside." So we're playing outside, and this is just not AJ's day. You didn't really want to play that day, I could tell. So we played for a little bit, and we played. I don't even know what we did. We probably ran around the yard, but we played. And I'm making it sound like we're kids. We're probably like 13 at this point. I mean, we're kids, but not like little kids.
Around, right?
Yeah. So we're just horsing around. So then AJ's like to me, he's like, "Yeah, man, I gotta go in." Like he just said, like, "I gotta go in, dude." And I'm like, "Well, why?" He's like, "I gotta do my Kumon." And when the K word comes out, Kumon, it's like not cumin, Kumon. It's serious. Like it's business. It's business.
Hey, everything else
stops. Get out of my way. I'm going inside, or else Kim's coming after me like Spike, right? So go in and do the Kumon. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So AJ goes inside, and we have our houses were right next to each other, and we shared a side yard. So if you walk through the side yard and you just look right, you could just see his basement windows. You could see the whole basement. So I'm putting around to go to my backyard to go shoot hoops on the basketball court. And as I'm walking, what do I see? I see a little fucking AJ Metson downstairs, just right into a game of COD, like right into it, grinding as hard as he can. So I'm offended at this point. I am beyond belief offended.
I think you came to my door.
I did. Well, first I knocked on the window, and you heard the knocking, but he didn't look. He just kept looking straight.
It's a deer in headlights.
he kept looking straight, like you knew. Oh shit. He's calling me out. So then I went to your door, and I was knocking it. I was pretty much just like, how's Kumon going? Blah, 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 blah.
It's the first beef we ever had.
I was upset for a little bit. I'm like, dude, he fucking ditched me to go play COD. We didn't even boost together.
Yo, half my college friends will say the same damn thing. Like, while I'll be going on, I'll be like, nah, man, I'm staying in, gotta do homework. And then they'll FaceTime me, I'll answer, and I'll be playing COD. And I'm like, I'm
absolutely priceless moment. My favorite part was when I caught you, because I had this feeling of like, this is kind of hilarious, but fuck this kid at the same time. And then when I knocked on the window and you didn't look, you just kept looking straight.
I was too scared to look up. I knew your face was just giving me that fucking look from the window, just pissed off. You goddamn
my
liar.
face is, I'm just there scorning you. I'm just like, what the fuck? That's probably one of my favorite stories I actually have with you, just because of how funny the whole thing was and how it all went down. That was priceless.
All the beefs usually came from like the games. Like we had the one where we had, believe this or not, we had wooden sticks that we found in the bush, and we duct taped 2 walkie-talkies to them. It makes no sense. This was like our first real person shooter.
This is your idea, actually. You came up with this idea.
So we duct taped walkie-talkie to each other's stick, and like you can call a ring. I don't know. So if you got rung, it means I saw you and I shot you first or whatever.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So we played legit for like 10 minutes, and then I found like a hack or a way out of it.
Found an Easter egg.
Yeah, I found a loophole in the game I made that Matt had no idea. So I have like a 2-story house, so you could see my backyard from my parents' room. And we basically had the boundaries of our bush and our backyard. So I snuck into my house and I sat up top in the window with a stick, and Matt was running around the backyard trying to find me. Holy shit, I'm gonna die laughing. And I kept pinging him. So I saw him and I was shooting him, and he get on the walkie. He's like, "Where the fuck are you? Where are you? Where are you? What are you doing?"
Everywhere I'm running around, I shoot things.
He thought I was hiding in some tree. And then my mom walks. I got grounded for this. My mom walks in her room. I'm standing in her room with a stick
and a walkie-talkie.
She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm beating Matt." She's like, "Why?" She's like, "We're like, well, we're playing this shooting game where if you get shot," and she's like, "Aren't you supposed to be outside?" I was like, "Yeah, but like you can't see me." She goes, "AJ, that's cheating." And I got in an argument with her, and I got grounded for cheating the own game I made.
I kept running around the backyard, and every 2 seconds I hear ding, 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 ding. So then I start going to the front yard because I'm like, okay, like what's going on here?
You're losing your shit.
In the front yard, I kept hearing ding, ding. So I'm like, this kid's just mashing the button. He just keeps hitting.
He doesn't even see me, and I'd call him out and be like, "Oh, you're right around the tree on the left," and he's looking around, like can't figure it out. I thought he was gonna snap the stick.
Nerf guns. I don't know why we would just get Nerf guns and just shoot Nerf guns at each other. That would have been so much easier.
Remember when we progressed to paint? The Keenans had their paintball guns. No, we had like sun. I took my dad's Oakley sunglasses for eye protection. He was so fucking mad. And then we're running around Mill Creek with paintball guns, putting them right on each other's backs and just sniping each other in the middle of the woods.
That's probably why we didn't. That's probably why our parents didn't give us any of those. Hey,
yeah, we always wanted one.
I always wanted, and I wanted some form of a projectile when I was a kid. Some form of, I just wanted something that I could just shoot someone. Like cans. No, not. Yeah, injure you maybe. No, I just wanted to shoot targets, and my mom was always like, "Never, ever, you never get anything." So I never did. But then the paintball guns, yes, and other people had airsoft BB guns too, like the Hargises. They had like
they were allowed to do anything they wanted.
They had a full fort at their house. They were building like Fort fucking McMurray over there. It's like
that's the place you wanted to be.
Dude, one day wasn't one of them walking around with a ghillie suit? We're in Mill Creek. We're in one of the nicest subdivisions in the city, and someone's walking around with a ghillie suit and an airsoft BB gun in the streets, and people are calling like, "What the fuck's going on? Is
they were going just to war shooting here?" People too. They were just firing it off. Everyone's like, "Yo, who the hell?" Because you can walk through all the bushes, so like through the whole neighborhood, you can walk through common bushes.
Yeah, you walk through everything.
Man, that was.
Remember when we used to do those? I actually used to thoroughly enjoy these when we did like a neighborhood
hide and seek
day.
Oh, yeah, those ones. Yeah. The whole neighborhood did it.
I would wake up, I'd get on my little bike, and I would just pot around house to house and pick up everyone's shit.
I got in so much trouble. I'd have like 20. My mom would give me $20. I come back with 15 things. She's like, "Get rid of it all now." She'd sell it. She would flip it.
I know. They'd be so pissed. I bought a lava lamp one time. My mom lost it on me. I was like,
so greasy.
What's wrong with the lava lamp? Was not having any of it. Did not want any. But yes, the neighborhood hide and seeks were awesome. Those games would actually, if you were it, I mean, that sucked.
Man, nobody will ever do that because everyone's way too mature at the age of 7 now. But that was the time.
Those were that was like, see, this is the interesting thing about our generation is we're very much a part of all the social media and all this, obviously, right? But when we grew up, I mean, when I was in high school, I remember when Instagram and Facebook, well, Facebook had been out, but I remember when Instagram and Snapchat, definitely Snapchat, when they first came out, we lived before some of these social media platforms existed. I totally miss it. And dude, I remember, weirdly enough, actually, I don't know why I remember this day as clear as I do. Maybe this is the reason why. Maybe I had some insight, but like I remember I woke up one morning and you didn't have to call anyone. You didn't have to say anything to anyone. There was one spot. It was right next to Tanner Carter's house with that empty lot, and that we would set up jumps there. And every day in the summertime, I would just ride my bike there, and everyone would be down there. You didn't have to. There was no calling. I always wonder what it was like for the first person who got there. Like he just gets there and he just waits. He just sits. All right. I hope everyone's coming. Like no one checked this.
Otherwise, he's got to go door to door.
Everyone showed up on time. Everyone was ready to go, and we would just hang out. And I remember one time riding my bike over there, thinking how simple and beautiful it was. I'm like, this is great. Look at this.
Man,
I get to ride my bike over here. All my friends are here. We didn't have to call. And this was before I wasn't even thinking about phones and nothing like that. Now looking at it, with all phones and shit, boy, oh boy, would I love to go back to just how it was like that. It was so genuine and pure. Tons of fun.
Easier time. I went on Twitter one day and it was like, you woke up one day and it was the last time your buddy ever came to knock on your door and you'd play outside. And I was like, damn, that kind of hit home. Got me like tearing up a little bit. I was like, yeah,
That's true. I don't remember when that was, but that was
all of a sudden it just stopped. It had to have been high school, but like it still just stopped.
Well, it probably definitely stopped in high. Well, that right when I got Facebook, when I went into high school, I got it. That's when I got a phone and when I got Facebook when I went into high school. When I was in grade 9 or 10, Snapchat came out. I vividly remember I was on a hockey trip. We were on a tournament somewhere, and I remember Johnny Hammond came running in the room. He's like, "You got to get this app." He's like, "You got to get it." He's like, "You got to get it." And it had Snapchat, and he was like, "We're sending videos. It's hilarious." And I remember thinking, this is so stupid. You could just text people videos, right?
Whole different world.
I got it, and it was a different ball game. And then we all started saying, we're like, this was designed to specifically send nudes. Like, we're like, this is definitely
like people exploited it.
Yeah, we're like, this is definitely what this is for. But I remember when those started to come in before, when they just started getting instantiated. Now, man, go open your Snapchat and go look at it. You have a map that tells you, if assuming your
Where
friends
people
say,
are.
oh, yeah, which most people do, they say, I leave my location on, let Tom, Dick, and Harry know where I am every night. Sure, why not? Right? So why not? So now you have a map that tells you where people are. You have a community Snapchat. You could just check, oh, what's going on in our community today? You could see like a bunch of fucking weirdos posting all kinds of weird random shit that you don't even know is going on in your city.
That's the treat, is when you go into random cities and look, and it's like, damn.
And there's all kinds of weird. So it's like, and that, that was, I've been out of high school now. I graduated in 2016. I've been out of high school for 4 years. So maybe about another fucking 2 years, 5, 6 years, probably about 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago is when Snapchat came out.
Yeah. My grade 10, your grade 9.
Yeah. And it's like, you look at it and it's like, so we did grow up. I mean, we're still part of this generation, but when, at least in my childhood, I vividly remember there was a lot of time when we had no phones.
No, you just go to the door. I knew everyone's house number.
You go to the door. You go, everyone's house number. You go to the door. You actually know everyone's phone number.
Phone number. That's what I meant.
Phone number too.
I still remember Adam's. If he
said
recite his phone.
Did yours have a 13 in it? Did yours have a 13 in it?
No, it was close though.
Fuck.
I mean, for me and you, I just go over. I just like, your parents would answer, be like, "Hey, can Matt play?" Be like, "No, he's eating or he's doing homework." Or you'd be like, "Hey, can AJ come on?" He's like, "No, he's grounded for the next 3 weeks because he ripped off."
Yeah, you were always grounded, eh? What went on with that? You were grounded.
It was Kumon, man. It was that Kumon was. It wreaked havoc in my life. I was an idiot. So like Kumon, so you get these booklets. You do them 5 days a week, 7 days a week, and they were long, and I hated them. And I used to rip the pages off and hide them. Like I'd rip off the back page, like no one would ever know. And for years, I'd go in and like the teacher would be like, "Yeah, so you're missing like 6 pages this week." And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know what happened to them." And then they tell my mom, and my mom would go on a search warrant in my room and find like 10, 20 pages from the last week, and I have to sit back, do them all. She'd ground me. Oh man,
Kumon was a good one for you. I remember when it would be like when you were doing, like I said, man, Kumon was serious time. That was a serious word. The minute the K word came out, it's like, okay, all fun gone. AJ's doing Kumon.
There was a drinking game for every time you came over. My mom's like, "No, he's doing his Kumon." We'd both be pretty hammered right now.
I'd be an alcoholic, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
There's some other good stories. Like it just progressed.
Well, there's all kinds. Like first of all, remember when we dug that huge hole in the front yard in the snow? We had huge snowbanks.
Oh yeah,
just a hole. I think my sister did it, and we were all proud. We were like, "Whoa!"
We just dug a deep ass hole. We just sat in there.
It was like the best hole. We were so proud of it. We were like, "Whoa! I can't believe this." But the ding dong ditch. Those are some good stories.
Oh, my mom was used to it. As strict as she was, she always let me do ding dong ditch. She's like, "It's what I did as a kid," and I was like, "That's all right."
That's the best, man. They're just like, go do your Kumon, but when you're done, go play ding dong ditch.
Yeah, you can do that. You can break all the man. And the thing was, is we thought we were so slick, but there's like 6 kids on Mill Creek, and they always knew who the hell it was.
Well, that's the thing, is like your perspective of things is so small, because we're like, they're never gonna find us. There's millions of people in this world. It's like, yeah, okay. There's only X amount of people in Mill Creek, and they know that there's out of those people like a certain amount of kids that they see outside running around every day.
Every single day.
Every single day. So you're probably the culprit. Well, no, so AJ gets a new neighbor. No, it was one over from your house.
Yeah, right across.
Pretty much a new neighbor. And it was an older couple. And they were nice. They were nice people. I talked to them after. I confirmed they were nice people. But so we're just like, let's play ding dong ditch. So I don't know, we must have been hitting up some homes. But I don't know whose idea it was to hit up that house. But I was the one who was granted the beautiful opportunity of knocking on the door. So I go to the door, and I don't know what you were doing. You were probably getting ready to run. We would always be like a command
right around the house.
Yeah, like ready to bolt. So I go and knock on the door, and we didn't ever do anything like pound. We
didn't put shit in bags and light it on fire.
Yeah, no, never did anything that. Just straight knocking and running. We thought that was hilarious. So I knocked on the door, and I swear to God, the minute my knuckle hit the door, the curtain just. The front curtain of the house just flew open, and this old guy's just sitting there with a drink in his hand. He just looks out the window, and he just sits there for like 3 seconds. He just kind of stares at me, and I'm just like, holy fucking shit, I've been spotted. Like, I can't run now because
we thought we were going to jail if we got caught.
I'm like, I live three houses down from this guy. I'm screwed. So he comes down. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay. So he comes to the door. He's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm just like, hey, my name's Matt. I put my hand out. I'm like, welcome to the neighborhood, man. You guys just moved in here. It's so
You're like
nice to meet
11,
you.
the most mature 11-year-old ever.
This guy was elated. He was on cloud 10. He was like, oh my God, you are such a nice young man. He's like, and then he's like, I see you and your brother running up the street. He's talking about me and AJ. We're not even related. He's like, I see you and your brother running up the street all the time. You guys are beautiful kids. Like, enjoy. And he just loved me. So I was like proud of myself that I got out of it. But then I felt like shit. So I remember telling my dad the story because nothing bad happened. So I thought it was funny. And he gave me shit. He's like, you know what could happen? He's like, what if he fell down the stairs and died? He's like, then how would you feel?
Just the most extreme scenario.
The most extreme scenario. He's like, what if he fell down the stairs and died? I'm like, what if someone went to knock because they had to knock actually, and he fell down the stairs? Like, what do you mean? So I felt like shit after that. So like that was a good time though. And we would hit up other homes too. Like, remember when we hid behind the tree because we were both super fucking skinny, so we could hide behind anything.
Yeah, we were 75 pounds combined, and we hit up the street, the house literally across from mine. Like they couldn't see me or Matt, so we hit the door, and the guy comes flying out, and he's pretty.
He hit the door,
and we hang out with the two kids in the house. And we knock, and the guy comes flying out. Me and Matt are like huddled behind a tree, like just like hugging each other, basically like please God, don't find us.
Like we're talking like, you know, when you see in the cartoons when like they hide behind the tree, like they go sideways. That's what we did. And
I mean, people make that joke to me this day. I turn sideways and they don't see me, so it worked.
It actually worked.
I remember the one time there was a cop on our street, like right across. And he was like super strict. We knew this guy was like an absolute Nazi for like the rules. And I did it to him, and he comes flying out of his house, and I'm sprinting across traffic, and I look at one car and I just stop him, and I keep booking it. Like easily could have been smoked by the car. I had no fear of anything. This guy scared the shit out of me though. I was really ready to hit by a car.
There was a lot of characters in that neighborhood, man. I mean, you know, it was a nice neighborhood. We had a lot of interesting lads living in that neighborhood. You know, you had some interesting people. The further down the stretch you went, there was a lot of interesting people. There was some interesting things that went on.
Yeah, you remember when you target Jarrett Stefanitzi's house over and over.
Oh, we used to go. I remember when we would play Ding Dong Ditch at Jarrett's house all the time. We just
target his house, and his mom would.
Jarrett would he would just like one day he would just like show up at my house, and he would just be like outside my door, and he'd be like, hey, and I'd be like, hey, and he'd be like, you want to hang out? I'm like, yeah, sure. So like just like that, like simple shit like that.
Easy.
Just like that. You know, he used to come to my house, just say, hey, boom. But you remember when your hat got thrown in the ravine?
Yeah, you threw my hat, and
No. Michael threw your hat.
Oh, Michael threw my hat, and I got so mad, and my grandma came out and reamed him out.
The orange ravine, and your grandma came out and fucking lost it.
Yeah.
Why are you bullying my grandson? Dude, your whole family is nails. You guys are all nails.
They will kill someone. Yeah,
your
absolutely.
Dad, your whole family, your grandparents, you guys are all.
I came home crying because my nice hat got thrown in that orange muck, and my grandma comes flying out right into the backyard, screaming at him, and he's just like, he thought he was just laughing. He thought he took my hat off, threw it, and he started laughing like it was a joke.
Yeah, that was a dick move actually, because he ruined the hat. I rember that.
Oh, I was total. It was like
totally
it was like rusty. I was so mad.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what even the hell was in that ravine? It smelled like it was shit, but I don't think we just had open sewage flowing in that subdivision. I hope not. Maybe it was. I don't think so though.
Some dirty Mill Creek water.
Remember when I got the sled and the snow machine?
Man, I was gonna say we used to just do circles. Like a backyard, it's like a nice backyard. It's pretty big, but like for a snow machine, it
totally unpractical for a snow machine. But I wanted one because I would go hang out with my buddies in Hayden, like Blake, and they'd
they had
go on the ice. So I'd be like, oh, this is the best. We got to get a snow machine. So I remember, you know, I told my dad, and then we ended up buying one, and that's all I did. I just did. Actually, I hit a tree in your backyard. I remember I cracked the front of the cab. I hit
literally just do circles, like just circles over and over and over again.
Yeah, in the backyard. Yeah, that was fun. And then we sold it the next year.
Yeah, it was like
we only had it for a year and then we sold it. Not practical. This isn't going to work now.
Man, we absolutely flew through time.
Dude, I knew this was going to happen, man.
37 minutes, and I swear to God, we started 2 minutes ago.
I know. I blinked, and now we're here.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. We got to have you back, man. We got
to do this again.
Stories.
I want to say my band is dropping an album on December 12th. I will link. Yeah, December 12th. December 12th, 2020 is when we're dropping an album. It's going to be sweet. Come listen, enjoy it. We're going to put it on all the streaming platforms. I have no idea what we're going to call it yet. Our band is called The Uncanny Valley. Check us out on Facebook. We got a website I built. We have an Instagram page. Check us out. We do a lot of gigs in town, but right now with COVID, we haven't been doing any. things are kind of shitty.
Yeah, plug anything you got to. The Uncanny Valley. Hopefully, we'll get the album name soon. We'll throw that up on the Instagram.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me, dude.
It was a blast, dude.
This made my day, man.
Yeah,
this made my day. This was
good catching up.
It was been a great time catching up, dude.
Okay, peace, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Ciao, buddy.